Hey everybody, it's Jerry, and today I'm going to show you how to make a clementine cake. Now this is a really unusual cake that is going to look good and really taste great. It is naturally gluten-free and dairy-free, which is great, so you don't really have to make any substitutions there. It is not vegan, it does have eggs, and there's really no way to get around that, so for all of you vegans, sorry, but this isn't going to work for you, but for everybody else, it's a great fairly healthy kind of dessert. So the first thing we're going to do is we have a large pot with water, and we're going to bring that to a boil. And while we're heating that up, we're going to add 5 clementines to the pot. And we're just going to let those cook for 2 hours. So once that comes to a boil, we're just going to lower the heat and just cook that for 2 hours. Now while that's going on, we have another pot which has 1 cup of water in it already. We're going to add a half a cup of sugar. And then we're going to heat that up. And while that's going on, we're going to take 5 more clementines and we're going to slice them fairly thinly and discard the ends. And then we're going to add the slices to the liquid mixture and let that cook for 20 minutes. And now we're going to take a slotted spoon and arrange the clementine slices on the bottom of a springform pan that has been sprayed with oil. So just arrange them so that they cover the entire bottom. So when you're finished, it should look something like this. You can overlap some if you need to, if you have some extras left over. And we're just going to leave that until the clementines that are in the big pot of water are finished. After their complete 2 hours of cooking, we'll come back and finish the rest. Okay, the clementines are finished cooking now, and we're letting them cool. And while that's going on, we are going to start making the batter for the cake. So the first thing we're going to do is separate 6 eggs. Put the whites in here, and we'll put the yolks in a bigger bowl. And now we're going to beat the egg yolks. And then we're going to add a cup of sugar and beat that in with the yolks. Now the sugar I use is sucanat, which is basically just raw evaporated cane juice. So that's why it looks brown. Okay, so now I have 2 1/3 cups of almond meal. Now if you can't find almond meal or almond flour, you can just take almonds yourself and grind them up in a food processor to be as fine as possible and use that. And that's basically what this is. So we have 2 1/3 cups. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm going to mix that together and add that to the egg yolk mixture. And mix that all together. All right, next we have the clementines that have been cooked, and we've removed the tops where the stems are attached, and removed any seeds if you find any, and placed them into a food processor, and we're going to grind these as finely as we can. Okay, and then we're going to add the ground clementines to the batter mixture. And mix that all together. And then we're going to beat the egg whites. So they're a little bit thick, but they're not really too stiff. So you want to leave it just a little bit watery. And then we're just going to fold them into the batter. And then we're going to pour it into our springform pan right on top of the clementine slices we've done earlier. And then we're going to bake this at 375 degrees for a total of 1 hour. Now after 40 minutes, what you should do is cover the top with aluminum foil just so that it doesn't burn, and then continue baking it for another 20 minutes. I would also suggest putting something underneath this just so that it doesn't, in case it leaks out a little bit, you don't want to burn your oven or make a mess. And then, so we'll come back after this has been baked for an hour. All right, the cake is done baking, and it's cooled now a little bit for about 15 minutes. So what we're going to do is invert it onto our serving dish. So first I'm just going to loosen the sides of the pan, and just make sure that the cake is loosened from the edges. And then I'm going to take the serving dish, place it on top, and then just invert everything. Okay, so it'll look like this. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a syrup out of the liquid that was left in the saucepan after we cooked the slices. So we're just going to heat this up until it gets a little bit thick and forms a kind of a syrup. So now the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the syrup that we've cooked down, and we're just going to brush it over the top of the cake, just to glaze it. So here we have the finished Clementine cake. So I would just let it sit for a day or so, put it in the refrigerator to chill, just so the flavor all kind of spreads throughout the cake. And try it yourself at home and enjoy.